This is all about drama.
It's been wonderful to see this romance blossom between our two lovers here today.
Especially when my dear wife passed away when he was born. I must admit, I scantly know him. Her marriage to a Yank, combined with my dear son's marriage to a Scot. Well, at least we will be representative of how far the Empire has come.
Well, I'm sure, as you can appreciate being a military man, having to flee Scotland because of the Americans has been quite difficult on my family.
They say love is war.
He asks me how I feel about my betrothed, full well knowing that I am doing this out of obligation. If only I could be with someone who understood me better and could appreciate me for who I am instead of trying to force me into this polite society. He knows full well my intentions, but is afraid to approach me with his own desires, leaving me in the throes of trying to determine what I should do versus what I want to do.
Hello, everyone. I am Lorelli, and welcome back to the Good Society. We're continuing actually from the narrative cycle that we left off in the last game. This is our second actual game session. Today we have one more player joining us. Ryan, say hi.
Hello, everyone.
Ryan is playing Vincent Bolton, and I think he's not going to be here for the sake of getting this narrative scene to its end, but we are going to introduce him at the beginning of the next narrative scene. He might be playing some connections that chime in here and there for the rest of this narrative scene. So where we last left off, we had Lieutenant Commander William Hawthorne was going to speak to Beatrice, his adopted is probably the wrong word, but his not exactly blood sister, but his sister nonetheless. This was at the engagement party of Rose and Theodore, and we had quite the drama bomb in a monologue last time. So we're going to pick up from this scene. Beatrice is being played by Cassie. William Hawthorne is being played by Kramer. Go ahead.
Beatrice, is that you? I say, walking up.
Oh yes, dear William, how are you? It's a splendid day.
Oh goodness. It's been a while since I've seen you. I was hoping if you would have a chance to catch up, perhaps just outside when it's not so crowded in here.
Oh, certainly. We can step outside.
So I take it you guys are stepping outside. What do we think that the actual like exterior area of whose estate is this? Duchess Cassandra Ernst's estate looks like? I imagine lots of beautiful rose gardens, and you know what? Actually, I have an idea.
Okay.
Right here, lots of beautiful pink roses. We've got whatever the heck this is in the center. I think that's what's the word? It's escaping me.
Canopy.
Yeah. A beautiful canopy, long hedge roses. Long hedge rose. This is an absolutely gorgeous garden. Where's Beatrice? Let me get her out there real fast. Here we go. All right, continue, please.
I forget what this place looks like in the spring. God, it's been so long.
I know, but at least we're here now. It's a shame that we haven't been able to see each other, but I understand you've been busy with work.
It's been on the far side of the world. It's amazing how quick time seems to fly when you're jumping from mission to mission, port to port. Goodness. I think when I left, I was but a lieutenant, and now, goodness, not only captain of my own ship, but potentially my own squadron. And if should I leave home again? But
Oh, go ahead.
oh no, it just seems so easy to get wrapped up when you're engrossed in the world, engrossed in going from day to day, mission to mission. To be honest, coming back here, I feel more out of water and out of sorts than I did, goodness, in a in the at a Portuguese port of Genoa.
Well, I know it can be hard for many men coming back from military service, but you can know that your family is here to support you, and that young Theo, I'm sure, is more than happy to see you.
Yes, I know. What is it? I know my sisters and siblings have been looking after him. I was hoping if you've always been one to speak your mind and to have a shrewd head on your shoulders. What is? Have you had a chance to get to know him as I chose not to?
Yes, I mean, young Theo seems to be a very educated young man. I mean, Sandra has done a great job picking someone for him, and he really seems to be taking to the idea of married life. I know that your path was somewhat different and you poured yourself into your career, but I think that he's decided that staying put instead of hopping port to port is life for him.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to re-engage with him at some point, and I suspect that hour is drawing closer than I rather have. But what have you been up to? What pursuits have you been pursuing?
Well, I've mostly been reading. You know, grandmother has not found a suitable partner for me, so I have been focused mostly on myself and keeping myself busy and engaged. But oftentimes people don't want to hear my opinions on everything that I've been reading. Um, Unfortunately, that's part of what seems to be scaring away the suitors.
Goodness. A woman with a good head on her shoulders isn't something to be scared of. Yeah, I know I wasn't. But, nevertheless, I do hope to have the opportunity to get to know you better as in these coming days and coming weeks. Hopefully, you're not planning to stray too far from London and, goodness be, follow in my footsteps.
Well, London does have the best libraries and museums, and I've always found myself attracted to this city, and so um, I'm sure that as long as I have a place to stay and great people to talk to, that I will continue to be around London.
Well, I can say I, for one, look forward to discussing many topic with you. Goodness knows, on what is it? On long nights at sea, you get to know the library on the ship very well.
And I'm sure it's quite the library. But again, probably compares nothing to that of here in London. So feel free to stop by someday. I'm sure that I will be there.
Splendid. Thank you. But now I fear that before this day is out, I have one last task to do.
I will let you see to it.
Until we meet again.
Until then.
And with that, the two-part. Where are you going to be looking for Theodore? I assume that's where you're going next.
Yes. I think I'm going to be tentatively walking into the main room in view of the dancing hall to see if he's there. Otherwise, scanning the room a little bit with a locket in hand.
As you do walk in, scanning the room, the party is essentially starting to draw to a close, and you see good old Theodore standing again, sort of staring out the window, admiring the beautiful rose garden that you were previously standing in.
Oh. Putting the locket back into its position. I will approach. Is he with anyone else or no?
At this moment, he is alone.
I think approaching him, not making contact, would be kind of standing a little bit of distance, kind of like, basically, if it was like the room that's on show here, it would be quite literally like walking to the window, to the open window, not next to, not immediately, not the same one, but the one adjacent, so like a solid 6 feet apart.
Oh, go ahead.
Your Aunt Cassandra knows how to throw a party. That much has not changed.
It would seem so, Father. And what?
Is it what you were hoping for?
Well, of course, Aunt Cassandra is. I mean, she's wealthy enough to throw quite a beautiful party as this. So yes, it's everything I could imagine. In fact, my father is here. I clearly must be dreaming.
It's been a long time. But as far as things go on from here, what do you want?
What do I want?
As a young man, the world's your oyster.
To be honest, I'm
I don't
surprised you're
see
even
anyone
asking.
around us. Still not making eye contact, looking out the window.
Yes, I suppose you would see nothing around us as you only seem to look forward and away from me and the party.
Sometimes when you're drowning, it's just easier to keep swimming down.
And do I look like I'm drowning? I see no water. Perhaps I'm drowning in wine.
I should hope not, unless you follow in my footsteps in that regard. But my choices have been made these past decades. Yours lie in front of you. I'd like to help you if I can, but that depends on, well, that depends on what may come, I suppose.
And what exactly can you do to help me? You've never and what brings out this fatherly desire that I've not seen before.
Not seen. I make no pretense of saying that I wasn't there when you grew up.
Or yesterday.
or these past 10 years,
Or
I know that I chose to go to the far side of the world in a way that hopefully brought this family credit and helped bring some separation in the course of time and distance from your mother's passing.
so you admit to running away.
I admit to taking the opportunity to go into the service, to see the far side of the world in a way that I dreamt of as a child, but regret now as a man.
I see. Perhaps
What?
instead of asking me what I want, you should be asking yourself what you want.
Seems like my part in this world is already straightforward. I have a commission. My family is relatively secure. Seems like the moment's with you now. So tell me, will you be making your name around London? Perhaps following your uncle into the House of Lords one day?
He smiles. It seems I've got another destiny, Father.
Oh. I'd like to help you if I can, if you let me.
To be frank, I do not understand how you could possibly help me. You and I are basically strangers.
Perhaps that will change in time. But kind of taking a step away, almost with his back to Theo at this point. If in these coming weeks you see fit to get to know one each other, if not as father and son, at least as two kin that share blood, I'll be here.
Coming weeks, how long will you be here?
Oh, at least the next few months until the Admiralty comes up with an assignment or other doors open for me here. That is something that I still need to determine which port I want to sail to.
Sounds like your future is just as uncertain as mine.
Luckily, with any fortune, you'll have less people that you've lost touch with when you look back a few years from now.
I'll do my best to try to maintain my connections.
Just know that your family's here for you if you ever need us.
And Cassandra has shown me that quite well.
Ah, yes. Do try and live up to the expectations that we all have for you to go off and do great things.
I assure you I will.
Start stepping away.
Theo is going to stay there.
All right.
All right, with
Kind
that,
of like almost pitifully kind of just walking off, staring out the windows as he does.
and he runs away again. Going to end the scene right there. All right, so, oops. We go to the cycle of play sheet here, and now we're on reputation. So, excuse me. We assess major characters' behavior against their reputation criteria and create any possible reputation tags and trigger any reputation conditions if applicable and remove any reputation conditions if applicable. So what we'll have to do here is I think we can start at the top we're going to start with Sierra here. I'm going to open up the family backgrounds. Oops. And were you new money, right?
Yes.
All right. So reputation criteria. You gain a positive tag if you've acted in service of duty or morality in a way that compromises your desires, or acted in obedience to society's conventions despite considerable hardship in doing so. Or lastly, secured a personal invitation from someone higher status than yourself. Technically, being at this party could be because a duchess threw it. I feel like that probably in and of itself could bag you a positive tag. I don't know how people feel about that. Or do you think we need to make her work harder for that?
I don't know. I think that we couldn't have really excluded her from it.
That is inherently true. It's not really something that her character actually played out.
Yeah, I'm also kind of so opinion. I don't mind either way, but like at the same time, it is something where like it wasn't earned via character role playing. It was given by virtue of the scene.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm to on what Ryan said. I mean, I know when we've played before, like kind of the first few rounds are, well, let's just put it this way. We have a broader interpretation for the first few just so that people can kind of like build up their characters, because otherwise it's kind of hard the first thing. So I'm also fine if we just give it to her just because it's the first round, and and just knowing that we'll be a little bit more choosy later.
I'd be okay with that. So, how does this affect Jade? Like being invited to a... Well, actually, let's see if any of the negative tags apply better. Acted...
Can you actually repeat the positive tag descriptions one more time for me?
Yeah, if you actually click on the journal and then click family backgrounds, you can see them listed out if you go to new money, but acted in service of duty or morality in a way that compromises your desires, acted in obedience to society's conventions despite considerable hardship for doing so, and lastly, secured a personal invitation from someone of higher status, from someone from a higher social status than yourself. That said, oh, go ahead. That said, she was kind of assumed to be someone who had to be there because she was family. But so I don't necessarily know if you would even count that as someone of higher stat, even though, you know, Duchess Cassandra's a duke or a duchess. Yeah, let's just go with that. Yeah, so having this duchess in the family, considering your new money, what kind of how do you think other people would start to see you, describing it in essentially one word?
I'm sorry, repeat that one more time. What am I?
So you're coming up with a reputation tag, like think of it like a quick little hashtag as to like how people see you in this world.
Got it. And are we using one of the tags from the examples here? Like
no, it doesn't have to be from the examples.
Okay.
This can be essentially any quick little tag. If you want to think about that for a little bit, feel free to chime in. As we go through everybody else. Do you want to think?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll think about it for a minute.
All right. Let's then go to William Hawthorne as a careerist.
Yes.
Let's see now. Oh, military. I'm sorry. So
Military careerist looks like considers creating connections that bring their life into focus, demanding superiors, upstart juniors.
wait, where do you see that?
I'm reading from the large PDF.
Oh. So if you look under the journal tab and go to page 2 on Foundry, you can actually go straight to the reputation criteria. There's 2 that are exactly the same for the negative and the positive, and then there's one that's separate based off your family thing. So the first one is acted in service or of duty or morality in a way that compromised your desires, acted in obedience to society's conventions despite considerable hardship for doing so, and lastly, made sacrifice or denied your own desire to preserve the dignity of yourself or others in an unbecoming situation. Alternatively, you could have gotten a negative tag by acting or against society conventions, acting on desire in a way that compromised your duty or morality, or lastly, publicly displayed strong emotion. Do you feel as though you did any of that? Now, it is 100% okay to say no. What was that?
I wish I could magnify this a little bit. Can I?
Yeah, if you click and drag it larger, also control middle mouse button
That works.
will also do that.
Now I just need to pan within this screen. Fuck. All right. So he did possibly advance he did take steps to advance a desire. He did talk to his immediate family about military exploits, but nothing really that was applicable as far as career advancing here.
Yeah. I don't necessarily think that any of these directly apply. Now, if you basically yelled or cried or something in the conversation with Theo, I could see that publicly displaying strong emotion. Acted on a desire in a way that compromised your duty or morality. Was that the one you were kind of looking at?
No. Goodness. I thought there was made a sacrifice. No, that's the clergy origins. Yeah,
And it's okay not to earn or receive a reputation tag.
Yeah. All right. That's fine.
Yeah. And then we got Rose. Let's see what we got for Rose. Rose is foreign? Is that correct? Okay. Here we go. Acted in the service of duty or morality in a way that compromised your desires. I feel like, given the monologue you gave, going through with this marriage is doing just that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Alternatively, acted in obedience with society's conventions despite considerable hardship for doing so, made sacrifice or denied your own desire to uphold the values of your place of origin. Marrying a British man, you could theoretically go with that one too. I feel like so. Then the next thing that you want to do is pick which one of those you're basing the tag off of and write up and give me essentially a quick little tag, generally one word, that directly says how society sort of views you from that.
I guess here's
So-
my question. Like, nobody really knows, right? So, like, we're pretending that they all do.
So
Is it for the role playing or is it for revealing it?
So what it is for is essentially these tags. You can use them for resolve. You can use them in place. You can use them instead of using a resolve token.
I think the
But they're
easy
more
word would
situational
probably be-
specific.
Yeah, they're very situation specific.
Okay. I mean, I'd probably say the word would be like indecisive.
But this is a positive tag, so it would be indecisive used positively.
Oh, okay. Positive tag. Mm, oh. Yes, positive for like to be engaged to somebody else if that's cool. Oh God. I don't really know how to spin that in a positive way.
And I don't think that other people technically have to
Enduring?
know about. Yeah, enduring, surviving,
Practical.
Honorable?
practical, honorable.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. I'm
You
just gonna
could
I'm
you
gonna go
could
with
consider it
practical.
okay. You could consider it adaptive for the making sacrifice or denied your own desire to uphold the values of. Oh, never mind. Yeah, so practical sounds good.
Yeah.
And let's use ambitious for Biden, by the way.
Okay, hold on. Let me put those in the public information sheet. Okay, Rose Pickering. Oops. Practical.
Yes. That's what I settled with.
Okay. So I'm going to move everyone to the public information sheet. And then Jade, we're going with what?
Let's say ambitious. If we're going with I'm at a party, it's somebody more important than me, and that's what's giving me the tag. I feel like ambitious tracks.
Sounds good. Did I spell ambitious correctly?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then I think last but not least would be me, Theodore, for old money. Let's see now. Acted in service or duty of morality in a way that compromises your desires. I haven't revealed anything about the story, about my feelings, so I'm not really sure that fits. Acted in obedience with science, with society's conventions, despite considerable hardship in doing so. I mean, at best, talking to my father, but not really. Denied your desires or made a sacrifice to uphold the family name. I don't think that applies. Acted in a contravenient, I cannot. Words. Acted against society's conventions. Not really. I mean, I don't really
You did
think.
mouth off significantly.
All right, yeah, that's fair. I could see that. As either, yeah. I did mouth off to my father quite a bit. So, let's see now. Let's give me self-absorbed. Let's go with speaks my mind. I know that's more than one word, but I feel like it's adequate enough to describe the negative tag.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on to then the next cycle is the rumors and scandal phase. So what happens here is each of us will create or spread a rumor. Now, twice. There could be 2 times around that we do this, and Ryan will participate in this as well. This does not have to be your character spreading a rumor. The thing is, this doesn't even have to be true in any way, shape, or form. But this is things that just generally affect characters. A rumor is, first, when it's spread, it's something that kind of everybody knows or thinks, but they're not like going around talking about it. And then the second, once it basically has two steps. It's either spread or hold on a second. It's either just been created or it's spreading. If it's actually spreading, then it can be used as a resolve token. Does that make sense? So essentially, someone has to like second the rumor for it to be a useful rumor, other than people kind of just are whispering in the background. The other thing is, it is possible to use the metagame information to create rumors that are actually true. Like we could, there are servants everywhere. Like there is no privacy. There is zero sense of privacy. So like, let's say, and I'm not going to do this because I don't think it's, oh, hold on a second. Rose, your tag didn't save.
Oh no. New
Why didn't it
text.
save? Here we go. Text, what is it? What was it?
Practical? I think.
There we go. All right. So like, theoretically, it would be totally fair for someone to say, as a rumor, Rose is getting involved in a potentially loveless relationship. It's totally practical to say that. I'm not going to do that. Alternatively, you could be like, oh, there's a war with France upcoming, or there's a rumor that William Hawthorne is actually a homosexual or has a bastard son, or something like that. You want to create these. Do not have to be true at all in any way, shape, or form. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So I am going to go ahead and start first.
Yeah, what's the mechanics of this? Sorry if I...
So we're going to go around twice.
Okay.
And what's going to happen is you can either make up a new rumor, or you could spread a rumor that's there. If you spread it, it's kind of like seconding it. And then once it's been seconded, then it can be used as a resolve token. Does that make sense? Okay.
And you use it as a resolve token by all the regular ways? Like, you just have to say that you're using it, and then is it gone?
So you have to say that you're using it, and then very likely if you're using it as a rumor or scandal, you're using it in a way that's negative to another character. So you begin the negotiation where you essentially say, some character is going to treat another character differently because of this rumor. And then the other person could be like, yes, I will accept that token, or yes, and essentially add something to it and then accept the token, or would just reject the token. Does that description make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
But then it goes away. That's the part I guess I didn't get. So then does the rumor die, or
The rumor goes away once it's...
okay. The one-time use resolve token. Okay, that's what...
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so the rumor that I have created that's going around, and this is actually a rumor that I kind of wanted to have started at the beginning of the game, but it just makes sense to have it, to wait to bring it in, is that in order to acquire her ducal seat in the Holy Roman Empire over the Duchy of, I'm going to go with Schrodingerberg, because Schrodinger's cat. So it's essentially just a duchy somewhere in the Holy Roman Empire that's like in an unspecific location. I thought it was witty. But I'm going to say that there's a rumor going around, not necessarily true, that she murdered her husband and child in order to get around some old laws allowing her to take control of the duchy. So that's my first one. We're going to go in order on Discord after that, and we're going to start then with Cassie. So you can either spread the rumor I created or make up a new one.
I'm gonna make up a new one. So William had a lady on the side and that's why he didn't come back to England. He was with a bunch of hussies.
Oosty.
Ooh, scandalous.
All the hussies, Kramer, all the hussies.
Was it one specifically or just
Well,
hussies
there
on
was
the
one
side?
specifically that you were seeing a lot, but there were multiple hussies. You weren't, yeah. But the one is the one that kept you away, but you were not exclusive to your one hussy.
Ah, yes, the sailor in every port.
Yes.
So, Kramer, it is now your turn.
We'll start a rumor that the only one that Jasper spoke 2 words to was the very peculiar Coraline of the Hawthorne family. And which in social circles may cause friction between either the mainstream young ladies and the formerly just viewed as that's like Coraline's. Oh, she's just weird. She's odd. Well, if seconded, then that might cause additional animosity between.
It's also entirely possible that people will think that they've secretly proposed.
Oh, yes. All right, so that is my rumor. So we have 3 potential rumors out there. Going to the next person.
Perfect. Not Sarah, aka Sierra. You can spread any of these or create a new one.
I don't know about you guys, but I saw Sir William Hawthorne leave privately with only Beatrice unattended. No one knows where they went.
Dun, dun, dun. Is that like a seconding of Cassie's one then? Or is that a
no,
new
I think
rumor
it's.
in and of itself?
I think it is technically a whole
It's
new
more
rumor.
specific. I'd say it's a new rumor.
Yeah.
Okay.
With was it Beatrice?
Beatrice,
Beatrice.
who is not technically his sister, so.
Who's not technically his sister. And he does regularly call her by her first name.
Oh yeah, I was trying to
Ooh.
figure out that whole vibe. I was like, I kept reading back through the stuff, and I was like, what are we?
Yeah, also, I'm making, while this scene was playing out, I made a V3 of, I downloaded PowerPoint on this computer for you guys, and made a V3 that feels more legible and easily understandable.
I could have
And
just
I
turned it into a PDF for you.
I did. I did put in a document for potential notes. I haven't put any notes into it. I don't know if people saw that.
I just my job, like I'm a designer, and my job is making information easily digestible for people, and this was killing me, so I just did it.
You must share.
I will drop it in the chat.
Perfect. All right, Ryan, go ahead and either spread a rumor or
So
or
I will
make one.
probably spread one, but it didn't really matter because like this most recent round I really wasn't there. But part of my base game desire when we were doing character creation is that I do need to start a rumor about why me and Kramer have a rivalry, or that or that a rumor does need to be created. I don't know if it necessarily needs to be true, like we said, it's a rumor, but there does need to be a underlying rumor also in circulation that technically would be there before the game began. But since I'm not there to like play into it, it was okay that we missed it, I assume.
Yeah,
We can backwards engineer.
yeah, we can backwards engineer it.
This is your first
Yeah.
session. If there's a rumor already
Yeah.
out there,
Yeah, we could bring the rumor in.
So as like the regular rumor play, like before my background desire one comes in, I will second the William had side pieces, and that's why I didn't come back.
Ooh,
okay. That one I'll spread.
So that
the problem is trying to figure out some reason why we were fighting, I guess would be a good way to put this. Why William and Vincent are beefing.
well, according to my notes, this is a one-sided rivalry. Mr. New Money.
So yeah, so the card I gave you says that you can either perceive it as like being super serious or not, and only you are supposed to know that technically.
Oh shit.
No, only you are supposed to know how you are perceiving this rivalry.
Gotcha.
I will say that if you don't take it super seriously, it will make my desire a little weird, but it could be funny.
I just assumed you were sending me some like very odd like letters every once in a while, like, oh, William, you got mail from my family? No, from some acquaintance.
Yeah, because like that's the thing is like as far as like ages go, I think I'm like smack dab in the middle of kind of everyone else, right?
Yeah.
Like so like it'll be so like there definitely could be a reason for us to have interactions before. It's just like I'm trying to think of why and then what I could have done that would have picked a rivalry.
I mean, one. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, have you ever like served in the military? Like maybe he was your commander at some point and made some decisions that you did not agree with, or you could, or you could. Oh, go ahead.
So if I have this right, your character is about in his late 20s at the moment, right?
Yeah, like mid to late probably. I don't want to go too far away from the younger folk of the party, as it were.
Some suggestions, take it or leave it, would be that, hey, I essentially supported or vocally supported laws that were against new money, against bourgeois, and more in favor of old aristocracy. Could have just slighted you for being new money, trying to approach circle.
Well, I think the main thing is that I need to have wronged you for that.
Oh.
Yeah. I do like the enrolled in the military idea. That could work. The other thing I could think of is as when we were doing character creation, we talked about I'm new money, and that new money primarily comes from like my parents' place or my father's place in like the various trade companies that England has going on now. And if you were a naval officer in particular, but maybe just an army officer, there may have been headbutting between like the actual British regulars and merchant companies, and I could have been tied up in that in some way as well. I think those are probably the two best options.
Sounds like your father was running trade missions to the colonies in the rebellion.
Maybe I was thinking more like East Indies, but that could work too.
Ooh. So
okay.
I was gonna say, if you want 2 seconds to if you want like to do a 5-minute break here real fast so we can think about our next rumors before we go forward with them, I could always use the restroom.
Sure.
All right,
I
I'll
love how
be
you
right.
phrased that.
And we're back. Okay, so where we last left off, we were coming up with rumors. So Ryan, I think, had to still make one actually from character creation originally.
Mm-hmm.
Was that correct? Okay. Did you think of what you wanted to do?
Yeah, so we decided that kind of your idea that like it was maybe a short and an unfortunate military career experience on my end where William was perhaps in charge of my unit in some way, and insubordination probably got me ejected or something like that. Some we'll get into specifics later, but basically, that we've met before through the military and it did not go well is the main gist of the rumor.
Okay. Vincent was subordinate. William was superior. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we are gonna come back around to me. I am going to I'm gonna spread the Vincent was insubordinate. People are gonna be talking about this.
Dun, dun, dun.
Cassie?
I'm gonna spread what Kramer took from me. I'm just kidding, Kramer. That Jasper only spoke with Caroline at the party.
Ooh. Grammar?
Oh. Let's do. Gonna start a random rumor that the Pickering family was speaking Gaelic at the party amongst their own Scottish kind.
Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh. And then Sierra.
I'm gonna spread that last one because that's juicy.
A servant just overheard a very thick Scottish accent and just assumed it was Gaelic because it was incomprehensible.
And then lastly, Ryan.
Kind of missed a lot of what happened at the party to make my own rumor, so I'll spread once again, and I will spread the first one: the Cassandra murdered her husband for the duchy.
Okay.
Is there a benefit of spreading a rumor that's already been spread?
Yeah, you get a resolve token according to
So
the bottom
once it's
corner.
once
I
it's
don't
been
think-
made, you can use it to create a resolve token. And use it as a resolve token. So let's say suddenly I'm talking to like Ryan's Vincent. Let's say Theodore and Vincent are talking together, and suddenly he decides to make it, or like let's say there's a party that everybody's getting invited to, and Vincent like tells me about it, but then he can also use a resolve token to say, well, I'm not getting invited. I heard that Theodore isn't getting invited to the party because the one who's throwing the party actually thinks that Cassandra murdered to get the duchy, and she doesn't want to do it. That whoever made the party doesn't want to associate with the Hawthorns. Then the rumor would go away, but it would come as a resolve token. It would turn into a resolve token.
Okay.
All right. So that ends the rumor cycle. The next cycle, we write up some juicy letters. So you can either write a letter from, and we just say the letter, we don't write these things down. You can write a letter from either your character to anyone, and they don't necessarily even have to be a named character. It could be like a letter to your mother who's not named in any way, shape, or form. Or you can send it from one of the contacts you control. So I could send a letter as Jasper Pickering to somebody. Or you could spend a resolve token to force another character to send you a letter instead. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. I am going to start. All right, this will be a letter from who do I control in their entirety? Jasper, Eveline. Those are my characters, and then just me. So I'm going to start with myself. Dearest Grandmama, I'm writing this to Stephanie Hawthorne. Dearest Grandmama, I am so thankful to be doing my proper duty for the house and getting married to Rose. She's such a sweetheart, and I do think that perhaps there could be some love connection between us. I don't know as of yet. However, I fear for my father. You see, he has no one since my mother passed away, and it's been long since grieving time should end for that old man. I mean, my father. And I think it would be a good idea if you told him that perhaps he should actually get married again. Yours truly, your favorite grandson, Theodore Hawthorne. I think, do we want to go down that list in reverse? Because Vincent hasn't been... Actually, what we should do is if Vincent is going to put in or send letters, we should introduce Vincent to the world. So, could you tell us a little bit about Vincent, Ryan?
Yep. So Vincent's in his mid-20s. He comes from relatively new money. He is basically the only son of a wealthy merchant who has kind of made a large like a large amount of money through various trade enterprises, kind of not only investing but also kind of participating in a lot of the trade companies that sprung up around the time. Some for the better, some for the worse, but overall coming out ahead by a good margin. Vincent himself has kind of grown up mostly in the eyes of this wealth. Any time he might have spent, like, not being the son of a wealthy family, he doesn't really remember. It would have been when he was really, really young. So as far as he's concerned, his family's kind of always had this wealth. And that is, not presented the greatest mindset for him. He's vulgar. He's sort of like very do in living in the moment sort of person. He is perceived by society around him as the hedonist, which is the hedonist role. And a lot of his friends are from various social engagements more than anything, although he does have a few other close friends that he still keeps in contact with over the years.
What are his reputation tags?
His reputation tags, that's under the family background, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the positive tag is rich, like he has access to his family's wealth, is at this point, at this age, is mostly unfettered, like his father could in theory cut him off, but like he is A, not really paying that much attention to Vincent, and B, is too busy making more money to care about money being spent back at home. And the negative tag is vulgar. He's a little lowbrow when it comes to his humor and tendencies and so forth.
Perfect. All right. So we will then, I think actually a letter is a perfect place to introduce Vincent. Is there anyone that you don't have to, I don't think you are forced, it's up to 2 letters. So you could theoretically not write any letters if you want to, but I would recommend doing such.
I could think of at least one. In the relationships, I am technically Rose Pickering's friend, so I feel like writing a congratulatory letter about her engagement would be warranted.
Excellent.
And I could in theory use that to announce, like, you know, my return to the London circle as I've been out of town or something. And that explains why I missed the let's see here. Dear Rose, it is with great joy and elation that I have heard about your recent engagement. I am so sorry that I was unable to make the party. I was out of town, but I shall be returning to London within the next week, and I hope that we may catch up sometime during that time. Sorry, redundant. I look forward to seeing you and hearing a response, and I look forward to meeting your fiance. The name sounds familiar, but I do not believe that I have ever met him before. Yours truly, Vincent. I don't think he signed his full name, just Vincent.
Just ooh. That could be a dangerous letter.
You're
Okay.
just looking for scandal. You're
I
like
know,
Gossip
right? I mean, that's what this is about. This is all about scandal. All right, Sierra.
Sorry, I'm trying to think of so we can write a letter from our main character to anyone, or from one of the main characters we control to our main character.
You could write a letter from any character you control to any other character, or any character that doesn't exist at the moment. Or you could spend a resolve token to force another character to write a letter to you. So you could write a letter as Joy, or you could write a letter as Mortimer, or you could respond to my letter as Stephanie Hawthorne.
Okay. That sounds fun. Let's respond to your letter as Stephanie Hawthorne. All right. Dearest Theo, I am so glad to hear that you have such a positive outlook on performing your duty to this family. I know it can be intimidating and facing growing up and looking into this the challenges that this adult world brings as you mature and grow into the young man you are turning out to be. But we are so proud of you, and to see how you are taking all of this with grace and with optimism as you give up your boyish ways. I hope that you can continue to keep this focus on what is best for the family as you navigate the upcoming the upcoming times ahead.
Can I cut in?
Yes.
I will give you a resolve token to essentially say, yes, I am going to force William to find a wife. Will you take it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So Stephanie gets a resolve token, so she is at 3.
And is that part of the letter? We'll say, and as to your request, the more I've considered your writings, the more I see the sense in your question and your request. So yes, my dear Theo, I will aspire to find a suitor that would be that would suit your dear father, and we will have this discussion with him soon, I hope.
All
Savage,
right.
Nick.
What was that?
I said savage, Nick.
Kramer?
Jasper will receive a letter from Coraline.
Ooh.
Pretty straightforward and elegant. Dear Jasper, it was a pleasure making your acquaintance at my brother and your sister's betrothal party. It was, what is it? It was a splendid time, and if you do have time, I do hope that we can meet again at a small little small canine society meeting that I'll be hosting at the Hawthorne Manor on the following date. Signed, Coraline Hawthorne.
And then who are we on now? Oh, shoot, there's my desktop for you. Okay. Okay, then we're on Cassie.
I want to write 2 letters, so should I just do one and then we'll
Do
it,
one and
see
then
if
we
can
come
do it?
back, yeah.
Okay. So my first one, I'm gonna write to Dennis. So, dearest Dennis, was nice to see you at my engagement party. It's nice to see another Scott around other than my brother. I have thoroughly enjoyed making your acquaintance and hope that we can continue to get to know each other as the days drag on. Hopefully you are doing well and have not caused too much trouble with the ladies between now and then. Until we meet again, your dearest Rose.
That bring it back around to me? I think it does. I am going to write a letter to a character that is not a named connection at the moment. Dearest Abigail, I know we've recently hit a snag. However, I do believe that we can overcome it. You see, I just have to convince my aunt that this marriage is not really for the best of the family. And I have a plan. I have a 7-step plan to which I do believe will succeed. Just bear with me for now, and I am grateful to God every day that you bear with me. Yours in love and in spirit, Theodore. All right, we're gonna go with Ryan. Any other ones that you want to write? Ryan, you're muted.
I am muted. There we go. I was thinking. Yeah, I'll pull in one of my contacts. I don't know if you ever introduced him. I don't think so. The Mortimer, the schoolmate.
So Mortimer is actually controlled by Sierra.
Okay.
Are you sending a letter to Mortimer, or are you
I was
trying to
going
have
to
Mortimer?
send a letter to Mortimer,
Yeah,
basically
you can do that.
informing I was back in London, pretty much.
Go right ahead.
Mm-hmm. Mortimer. Good buddy, old pal. I'm returning back to London soon, and I look forward to seeing you again. I know you've been spending a lot of time in that garden of yours looking at all of your plants and whatnot, but I believe it will do you best to get out and see the sun and not leave it just to those flowers. I hope to see you soon. Yours, Vincent.
Sierra?
There's a letter, so I'm not responding at all, right?
Well, I
Or
mean,
is-
you can. You have the option to. It
you
is
don't
your
have to.
turn to send out letters, so you could have Mortimer respond, or you could send a letter from Jade to somebody, or you could send a letter from Stephanie to somebody.
Gotcha. Okay. I will send a letter from my character Jade to my Uncle Grant. Okay. Dearest Uncle, it was such a pleasure to see you again and at dearest Aunt Cassie's Cassandra's party. I hope this letter finds you well and your business, business, entre, all of your business undertakings are going well. Um, it was such a pleasure to see young Theo and his betrothed as they grow into adulthood and out of their childish ways. I so hope to see that our family continues to prosper in time. And I was wondering, have you paid any more thought to what your future plans might be, as you have no children and no heirs at this time? If you'd like to discuss at any point with members of the family who have studied and have a bit more real world experience, please be sure that my mother and I are here to help in whatever way we may be able to. Yours truly, Jade Nightingale.
So conniving. I love it. And then Kramer and then Cassie.
Where's the other one? Oh. A response from Dennis to Rose.
Dennis DeRose.
Yes.
Here we go. Go for it.
As surely as In ancient times, people were kept in exile. Know that you have but to say the prayer out loud, and I am certain that God will send his angel to deliver you from your captivity. You have but to say the words, and I'm sure what has happened before will happen again. And then simply signed D.
And then lastly, go for it, Cassie.
I'm going to write. Rose is going to write. Sorry, to Theodore. We are on such firm ground.
Yes, yes, we can 100% call each other by first name.
Okay, cool. Dearest Theo, it was such a pleasure to oh God, do back. I really enjoyed our engagement party the other day, and I was so happy to meet your family. Your father seems to be an honorable man, and I know that you will be as well. I hope that the two of you can mend fences, as I know that that has been a difficult thing for you. But I look forward to seeing how we can grow together and how I can blend into your family. Your dearest Rose.
Right. So now that we've gotten through all the letters, we are now on the next narrative phase. So does anyone have any ideas as to what this phase could be? I've got one thought, which would be Caroline's dog club, but I don't necessarily know that many people would be there. We can also have events and non-event things happening. We could have a scene that, or we could have a narrative phase that's just a bunch of visitings where characters are essentially meeting other characters at random locations. And that might be the way to go after having a big event. What do you guys think?
Yeah, or you could do like the library or something. Like that was referenced. And
Library was all the nice light. I think that might be it might be a good idea to have essentially multiple events going on during this one narrative scene. We could have two characters meeting up in the library, or a proper gentleman's club where there would definitely be lots of books.
What about like a almost like a country club kind of meeting? Where it's just like, yeah, on one wing might be more of like a gentleman's gathering, maybe more, and maybe on another wing it might be one or two other like smaller events. So it's like everyone's in the same proximity, but it's almost more like a marketplace meeting for the upper class.
That's not a bad idea, like a club of some sort.
Like a club that gets rented out. So it's like one wing might be like, hey, here's the kind of like a gathering of those, I don't know, let's say politically minded in London to kind of socialize. Meanwhile, on the other wing, you have like an event, a quote unquote, an event for the ladies or something like that.
That works for me. How do other people feel about that?
yeah, that sounds fine. I guess I'm not as familiar with the period as to like what that thing is, but as a general concept, I think that sounds good.
Okay. We could even. Oh, go ahead.
I was just yeah, I'm agreeing. I do think that like you're right that like not everyone, as far as the main characters are concerned, would either attend or necessarily be invited to the dog show. So perhaps, yeah, breaking it up into a couple meetings, but instead of necessarily visitations, something like Kramer suggested, where we have like maybe a couple small events going on at the same time. They don't even necessarily need to be in the same building, although that does like lend itself for more cool and unique stuff. But like some people are at the dog show, some people are maybe at like just a local ball or something, and some people are doing like another thing. So like it doesn't necessarily all have to be.
For the dog show to work, we have to have like a main character there.
True. Okay. True.
I guess. Yeah, we could do. Well, maybe what we should do is a series of visitings plus this more gentlemanly club. We could do. Anybody have a name for this club, perhaps?
1 second.
Kramer looks like he's finding a real person answer. I was just gonna say the High Society Club, but
The Good Society Club?
I don't know that good is the correct adjective uh for this game.
Yes.
A scandal society.
Drama society.
The drama society. Ooh, I like that. The drama society. Let me see. Give me just 2 seconds here. Here. Let's take this image. The image. V. This is not the. I'm gonna find a better picture than this as time goes on here, but I just wanted. Actually, you know what? I think that this should be a bunch of visitations.
The Gentleman's Club also sounds sketchy AF.
I think I was kind of thinking, like, wasn't there like a bunch of like cigar clubs, like a bunch of London folks just kind of like meeting together
Yeah,
to quote unquote discuss topics of the day?
That's essentially.
I mean, now I think it's got a certain connotation to it, but I think back in the day there was just like social, formal, quote unquote, social groups that would just meet.
Yeah, that's something that's essentially something that we could do. Just have a sort of a social group meeting. At. Oh man, I cannot get a nice picture to. I mean, this is better than anything else. Create or duplicate.
Motto of our marriage. Better than anything else for now.
What was that?
It's a motto of our marriage. Better than anything else.
Better than anything else for now. Pretty much at this point. Copy image. Control V. Okay, so we could have the scene essentially start at this general social club. We could have essentially maybe, as Kramer said, we could have essentially 2 wings of this club. We don't necessarily need to come up with a name for it yet, but you can't see it? Okay,
Yeah,
let me fix that real
we don't own
fast.
any tokens. Yeah, we can't see.
Turned off token vision. There we go. All right, so the General Social Club has 2 wings. A club for, or a side for men and a side for women to essentially hang out, get to know each other, socialize, gab the latest gab, gossip the latest gossip. There are books. Smoking inside is 100% acceptable. There are leather chairs abound. In fact, there's a lot more relaxation chairs than I was able to draw up in this picture. Beautiful chandeliers. This is where the high society goes to get a drink, to talk, to just be friendly and engaged with others of equal and proper class. So, does anyone have a conversation in mind that they'd like to kick off? Or who's all here? I would say Theodore is here. Anyone
I
else?
was gonna say, have we established like what the events are that are going on right now, or just like people just here in general?
So right now, this is just sort of shooting the shit. There could be characters coming here like you would to a bar or a club, or in the modern days, or like your local hobby store, except there's no internet, so people go to these things quite regularly for
Right.
conversation, and just to essentially chill. Now, this is not so much an event, and we can have small visitations too before this narrative session is over. So we're doing sort of a hybrid between a major event and just small visitations. So actually, let's just start off with Vincent and Mortimer. The two can get to know each other. Vincent's the new big man on scene. He hasn't officially made a first impression yet to the locals, and Mortimer's been here for quite a while, his friend, so perhaps they might have some conversation that they wish to strike up. Mortimer is being played by...
That would be me.
Yes. So the two of you run into each other. Perhaps one of you is sitting down and reading. Perhaps one of you is involved in something.
Vincent would probably be socializing more than reading. But I do feel like if he sees Mortimer, he will like beeline to him. So if you're already there.
And I feel like Mortimer would have been minding his own business in the corner reading, but would happily glance up and socialize when seeing a friend.
Mm-hmm.
So the two of you lock eyes. Converse.
Mortimer, my friend, it has been too long. Simply too long.
Why, yes, I'm so happy to see you here in the city. Remind me, how long has it that you've been in town now?
Oh, I just got back. I thought I sent a letter informing you that I shall be returning soon. Oh, it must have been yesterday afternoon or thereabouts.
Why, of course, I forget myself. I was caught up in this book, and my mind was elsewhere. Reading about all sorts of new methods for my gardening and tending of my plants takes my mind off entirely at times. How have you found your time back in the city?
Oh, simply great. It's nice to be amongst everyone again and socializing. Being called away to help with the various family matters is always stressful and distracting, so I look forward to seeing everyone again and, getting on, as it were. I'm glad to see you haven't changed much since the last time we saw each other, and especially since school, always a nose in the book, always reading. That's why I thought I might get you with the letter. You'd read that.
Well, if it's not broken, why fix it, I say.
Ah, very true, very true. I mean, people may disagree on what constitutes broken, but I agree. I wouldn't change you a bit, Mortimer.
I should sincerely hope not. Although it seems you have changed in your travels. You look quite a bit different than the last I saw you. What how would you say that the city looks different to you upon your return? What surprises you the most upon being back?
Oh, well, I heard that Rose got engaged. That was surprising to say the least. Outside of that, I mean, there's always rumors going around and people talking about this and that. I still haven't gotten caught up myself, having only arrived yesterday. But it seems that everyone's into some juicy gossip, as always. Uh, I've only been gone for several months, but it seems that it's nonstop.
Why, yes, the gossip in this city never sleeps, but I prefer to not engage with such frivolities. It's far we we shall let the women enjoy their meaningless gossip, and we shall keep our minds on more important things, I think.
Oh, of course, Mortimer. I mean, there is much to be said about keeping yourself in the loop, but eventually gossip just becomes that tedious and not really important, and I agree on that part.
And it can be such a challenge, never knowing what is true and what is false from the little birds twittering away. So I prefer to believe things that are written firmly ink and page that cannot be denied.
Mm, a bit too strict for me, but it seems to have worked well for you so far. Come, let us grab a drink and see who else is here. There's much to be said about reading good book, Mortimer, but you really should talk to others a bit more.
Ah, fair. Well, since my dearest friend is here guiding me, I suppose I shall allow myself to be convinced.
Of course.
After you, my friend.
Oh, of course. And I'll clasp Mortimer on the shoulder and swing him towards wherever they might serve, or might have like a bar card or an actual bartender or something.
And Mortimer very clearly, hesitantly closes his book and stands to follow.
Um, I interject?
Do you want to cut into this direct conversation, or
Not into the conversation, but can I simply put my character in the vicinity of the bar coming from a different room?
yes, because the event is technically considered because you're essentially jumping into the scene. I think it would be at the cost of a resolve token for you to be listening or coming in.
I will say I did introduce the idea of a bar to
Oh.
sort of open the conversation more, basically.
Okay.
We did just
so
loudly
you're
announce
okay.
that
I
we
gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, and I was just gonna
Perfect.
say, and we did
So-
loudly announce that we were wandering on, so we could
Yeah. Okay. So
meander towards.
you can, yeah. Feel free to come in then.
Uh,
And I guess you did mention that you may have had alcohol problems in the past, so the bar could be an appropriate place for you to just be.
whoa. All right. Ah, let's see here. Oh, and who might you fine gentlemen be looking over at Mortimer?
Does Mortimer have a last name? Sorry, out of character.
Actually, he might. No, it's not on the card.
Do you want to give him a last name real quick?
I'll let you pick this. This sounds fun.
Smith.
If you have one to
Oh.
find, if you don't, I can find one.
Oh, unless I mean Sierra, you're the one controlling him. Do you want to give him a? Do you have an idea for a surname?
Not on the spot. We'll
Oh,
let's see. Anybody else have any ideas they want to fire off?
I mean, Smith is just an easy, like, if you can't think of anything else, but then we've officially used
Collier.
our easy can't think of anything else.
Mortimer Collier.
Ooh, Collier could work.
How do you spell Collier?
Let's try to.
I think it's Coilleir.
Mortimer Collier is a bit of a mouthful. I heard. Did Cassie? Did you say Tuttle?
Tuttle.
Yes.
How do you spell tunnel?
Uttle.
Let's go with that. Mortimer Tuttle. That sounds. That is.
I don't know. Apparently, I felt Game of Thrones inspired today.
If Ryan's good with that.
Yeah, that's good with me.
All right. Continue.
Why, hello, good sir. I am Mortimer Tuttle. I'm here at this party with my distinguished friend here, Vincent Bolton. And who, may I ask, might you be?
Lieutenant Commander William Hawthorne. My ship arrived, oh my goodness, a few weeks ago. Actually, didn't even know this, but I initially set to return back to London from helping to put down the last of the Seaboy rebellions in India. On word that my father passed away, only to come up here in time for my son's betrothal ceremony. Could say that's a mouthful. Hopefully, you're in less interesting straits than that.
Why, Lieutenant Commander, I'm pleased to make your acquaintance. And congratulations on the upcoming, on the engagement. That is joyous news for any family.
Certainly. Kind of not looking off, not making eye contact. But what about yourself? What brings a man of your repute to this establishment?
Why, I try to give myself out of my my library and my gardens every once in a while to have some sort of connection to society. Otherwise, one is likely to go a bit mad, I think. But I will say I am very pleased that my dear friend here, Vincent Bolton, has arrived. It is always so much easier to get through social engagements when one has friendly faces around. May I ask, have you two met?
I don't believe I have. Looking at the what is it? Man in his mid to late 20s. Lieutenant Commander Hawthorne. Oh, I fear that he might be slightly muted. Sorry for interrupting you.
Ryan?
My bad.
Class.
I will use your vulgar tag
Oh
to
I forgot I was
make you act in a way, and you can say no to this, or you can say yes and to this. But I would use your. I want to use your vulgar tag to make you act in a very angry way, in a very offended way, for not being remembered.
Mm-hmm.
You can say no, or you can say yes and, or you can just say yes and get a resolve token.
I think I'll go like yes on this. It might not be like the most vulgar, but for as far as high society is considered, it won't be. I believe we have met, Commander. If I recall correctly, though, it was under very different circumstances where you were yelling gibberish at all of us.
cocking my head to one side, I try and take another stock of the fellow. Oh, I would imagine based on that, this was in definitely different attire than what we wear today.
Very much so.
Well, you must beg your pardon, kind of looking at Mortimer. I have been in the Navy for, oh my goodness, better part of the past decade and a half. It's unfortunate, but I hope that past excursions don't sour current waters.
Well, it seems that being in the Navy, sorry, they say that being in the Navy makes you blind to beauty, but apparently it makes you blind as well if you cannot recognize people.
Oh, my good lad. I have served on 6 ships in the past decade and a half, with over 1,000 crew between them. I'm sure what might have been a very, oh, what's the term? A very stark memory for you, for me, was probably just another Tuesday of keeping order on board the ship.
Yes,
Now,
you always were a bit detached from everyone.
yes, guilty as charged there. But you've obviously risen in the world since that time. Tell me, what have you made of yourself in these years since?
I've been further involved with the family business, various trading deals and so forth. After, oh sorry, there we go. Okay. After leaving the military, I more or less got involved into such things, taking on more responsibility at home.
Excellent. I think I remember somebody once saying that a true man doesn't come into his own until he's needed. I'm glad that you found a need for yourself.
And I pray that you find yours.
Of course. Well, Mr. Tuttle, I do say that if you ever want to discuss that book there on what is it, the theory of evolution, as it were, certainly would love to take you up on the subject, perhaps in friendlier circumstances.
Perhaps so, Lieutenant Commander. Mortimer is very clearly being feels very awkward and isn't quite sure what to make of this interaction, as he is quite loyal to his friend Vincent.
Just stuck like in between the two of them.
Awkwardly fiddling with the book.
About tab. I think I'll pick up the tab for the drinks ordered so far. Just put it on my tab. Thank you. Good day, gentlemen.
Yes, sir. And with that,
Farewell, Commander.
Lieutenant Commander Hawthorne leaves. So, were you going to continue with Mortimer, or should we move on to the next potential scene?
I mean, we can do like a wrap up of what just happened, but we can move on to the next scene too. I don't think we'll have much more input.
All right. Where would Rose be at this time of day? Like, would she be the Modiste, the garden?
Garden sounds good.
Oops.
I was thinking about if it's okay with Ryan, since we're friends and he just came back into town, that we'd probably be having a conversation.
Does that work for you, Ryan? And by Ryan, I mean Vincent.
Sorry. Yeah, I think that could work.
So the two of you meet in a garden. Obviously not or I mean, you could be meeting in the garden in the Ernest estate. Because I mean, it'd be totally understandable for Rose to just be there.
I think, well, he was just at the social club, so I think
Yeah.
we can.
Or this could just be any garden. Like this does not have to be the garden pictured. Yeah.
Yeah,
it
this
could
could be like later in the same day, even the day before, perhaps, or whatever. It could be something like that.
But general garden's good for me.
Mm-hmm.
Vincent, I'm so happy to hear that you're back in town.
Oh, it is fantastic to be back, Rose. You know me, business just was never my favorite thing, so being back amongst everyone is exactly what I need.
Well, it was such a shame that you weren't able to make my engagement party the other night, but I'm sure glad that we were able to catch up now.
Yes, I'm terribly sorry about that. I hadn't gotten the letter until I had already started coming back, and it was far too late for me to reach London in time.
Completely understandable. What have you been up to since we last saw each other?
Well, there have been attempts to make me take on more of the family business, as it were, and well, I do need to do something. So I have been lending more and more help. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, there we go. Yes, I've been lending more and more help to the family business, as it were. Mostly traveling to be an official representative on various deals being signed between our company and others, but occasionally I myself may be sent off to go accomplish some trade on my own.
Well, that sounds very exciting. Not much has been happening on my end other than obviously the betrothal, which might be a little bit more than I was ready to handle.
Yes, I mean, tell me more about that. How did you meet this wonderful Theodore, was it?
Yes, Theodore. Well, Duchess Cassandra, was actually our matchmaker, which was very kind of her. I know that my parents would be, proud that at least one of the Pickering children was able to get betrothed, but, not much more than that.
Oh, Cassandra the Bloody Duchess? Ah, what an interesting person to arrange a betrothal of all things.
Well,
No plans to take after her, I assume.
well, if it must come to that, then it does. Only in jest, I'm sure you understand.
No, of course. I'm mostly joking. Entirely joking. Do not worry.
Oh, but yes, Duchess Cassandra was able to get us connected, but I was able to also run into my friend Dennis from back in Scotland, and to see many others at the party was also nice.
Well, that sounds fantastic. I don't
Well-
remember if Dennis and I have met, but if not, you'll have to introduce us sometime.
Oh, most certainly. He is such a lovely lad. I think that he definitely reminds me of home, and has definitely helped me get through this whole process. Well, I will continue to sit here in the garden and try to finish my book that I was reading. I have a lot to think about nowadays.
Of course, I imagine you must. It's certainly a large step in your life to get married, after all. I mean, I never would have imagined it the last time we saw each other.
She sighs. Yes, I have heard that it is a large step and one that I guess I must prepare to take.
Well, Rose, I hope to see you more in the events leading up to the wedding at the very least. I understand you may want to ruminate on this. That said, if you want to spend more times at parties or something, I will be sure to send you invitations to those as well. Sometimes dancing and drinking and talking with friends can take your mind off such things.
I appreciate the suggestion. It is nice to know that I have a friend without an agenda.
Of course. I shall take my leave then, Rose. It has been great catching up.
Until we meet again.
Farewell.